ओम गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतानः शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैः स्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। Dear friends, we are seeing the Bhashyam under the 8th mantra, that is the first Mundaka, the first Khanda. Mundaka, the first Mundaka and the first Khanda, and the 9th mantra, 8th mantra we are seeing, that is Tapasa Chiyate Brahma Tato Annam Abhijayate Annat Prano Manas Satyam Loka Karma Suchanratam. I broadly explained that mantra and then we started reading the Bhashyam. So the context is, in the earlier mantra, the Upanishad told about Urnanapi Drishtanta, that is the example of the spider and how that Pruthivyam Oshadaya, the example of say the plant kingdom arising from the earth, and then from sentient thing, some insentient thing coming out, that is Purushat Keshalomani, that is over. And then later, it is now telling about the evolution or the Srushti Krama. Srushti Krama is being told in this Tapasa Chiyate Brahma, because what exactly is that Brahman was described earlier, Adreshyam, Agrahyam, etc., etc. The nature of Brahman has been described. And that Brahman is something, if you see the description of that Brahman, it looks as though that is something which is something like a touch me not. It has no contact with anything. It is something which is totally intangible. It is of the nature of pure consciousness, etc. So, on one hand, you are saying that that is something which is pure consciousness, which is all pervading. And that is something which is anantam, achakshushrotram, then apanipadam, nityam, vibhum. It is there, and then it is all pervading. Not only that, it is appearing as many. Vibhum, vividham bhavati. It doesn't say it creates, vividham bhavati, it becomes many. So, such a thing, what if you are describing the Supreme Reality as something so intangible, how is it that we are seeing this tangible world? So this tangible world has to be explained. So for that purpose, this Tapasa Chiyate Brahma has come. And this, as we were seeing, it is a slightly difficult shloka, mantra rather. Difficult in the sense, if you see the words, all the words are known to us. Tapas, Chiyate, Chiyate means upachiyate, that is grows or expands, or say some people have used the word swell also, but swelling is something which doesn't look good. It may mean expand or exulting. When you are happy, you exult. So maybe some such meaning. Then Brahma is one word we know, Annam we know, then Annat Pranaha, Prana we know, Manaha we know, then Satyam, Satyam also we know, Karma, Amrutam, every word we know. But every word is having a slightly different meaning here. It is having a slightly different meaning because when the commentator has to comment on these things, he has to see the overall text. He has to see the overall text of this Upanishad. What is the overall message or overall message, purport of the text? What is the structure, philosophical structure it is giving and all that? Then, what is the context? And depending on the context, he has to say what is Annam, what is Brahma, what is Prana, what is Mana, etc. He has to give the meaning appropriately. So that is what Shankaracharya has been doing. And in the last class we were reading that Tapasa Chiyate Brahma. There that Brahma is, whenever we have got doubt, Anandagiri is clarifying. For that Brahma, Anandagiri is clarifying, Ishvara Tattvopadi Bhutam Maya Tattvam Mahabhutadi Rupena Sarva Jivaihi Upalabhyate iti. So that is what he is saying. Ishvaropadi Bhutam Maya Tattvam. So this Brahman, Supreme Brahman, is something which is of the nature, which is something which is avyaya, nirguna, etc. But then in that there is this creative power or manifesting power. That manifesting power is what is called Maya or Prakriti or Pradhanam. So that Maya Shaktyupahitam Chaitanyam is called Ishvara. So that is that is taken by that word called Ishvara. Maya Shakti Upahitam Chaitanyam. From that again, this Avyakruta or Pradhana or Maya, it appears. So the Ishvara, when then that Supreme Brahman, that sort of say this tapas, by virtue of his tapas means jnanam. What is the jnanam here? That is the jnanam about the creation, about the nature of creation. So with that jnanam, when Brahma is having that knowledge in his mind, or when that thing comes into his mind, that is the Maya Avachinam Chaitanyam, we call it. So till that time it is Shuddha Chaitanyam. At some point of time that this this idea, this thought, etc. takes place. That particular thought, that particular Chaitanyam, where some thought arises, that is what is called Ishvara. So that from that Ishvara, tato annam abhijayate. For annam again, he has the meaning which is given is avyakruta or Maya. Why is it annam? Then how do you call it annam or pradhanam or prakriti as Maya? Because that is what is enjoyed by us all. Because we are all products of this prakriti and we are enjoying this prakriti. So in that sense it is annam. It is called annam. Annam abhijayate. The word used also is jayate. It doesn't say surjate, abhijayate. It is born or it evolves. So it is something like that. Because sometimes the Shruti says srujate, ethornanabhi srujate, grunhate cha. Sometimes at one place it says srujate, at one place it says abhijayate, utpadyate. So something like that. So it is not some deliberate srushti. Even if it is a deliberate srushti, it is something it is in the nature of an evolution. It is a sequence. It is in a sequential way these things are emerging. So tatoha annam abhijayate. Then annat pranaha. From that annam or from that avyakruta or this Maya tattvam, Hiranyagarbha arises. Hiranyagarbha is the first jiva. And then from that, the cosmic mind, Manaha is the cosmic mind. Then Satyam we saw that Satyam means the five elements are called Satyam. We have seen in some other Upanishads also, Satyatyacha Bhavatu in Taittiriya Upanishad we have seen. Sat means that which is appearing, Murtam. Tyat means something which is unseen. Among the five elements means Prithvi, Apas, Tejo, Vayu, Akash, the fire, earth, etc. Two are unseen, that is the air and space are not seen. The other three are seen. So the three things which are seen are called Sat, the other two things are called Tyat, these two are called Satyam. Then Lokaha. Lokaha means Bhujyante iti Lokaha. So you see, the human being does some karma. And when he does some karma, he has to enjoy that karma phala. And for that karma phala, enjoying that karma phala, that is, there is some sort of experience. That is, karma phalam is also an experience, isn't it? That particular experience, that karma phalam is called Lokaha. It is also called Amrutam. Loka, it can also mean Bhuloka, Bhuvarloka, etc. These 7 lokas. And also this Amrutam. Amrutam again is karma phalam. When there is a karma, that karma invariably gives some karma phalam, which has to be, which will not die. That is why it is called Amrutam. You see, this is something like a duplicate Amrutam. Usually the word Amrutam is used to refer to Brahma. That is the only thing which is, say, immortal. That is something which is immortal in the sense that is one thing which doesn't, it is beyond the cycle of this birth, death, etc. So usually that word is applied to, say, the supreme reality. But then here it is something called relative Amrutam. That is because this karma phalam does not disappear unless you, say, experience it. You have to jolly well experience it, whether it is good or bad, you have to have it. So that is why it is called Amrutam. So we were reading the Bhashyam also. Yad Brahmanaha Utpadya, we read these two, 3 lines. Brahmanaha Utpadyamanam Vishwam Tadainena Kramena Utpadyate. Then he said, Shankaracharya was saying, it is not just created as though Somebody is holding some fistful of berries and then he is just strewing them around. If you just strew them around, okay, all the worlds are formed. Not like that, but in a sequential way. So that is tapasa, jnanena, utpatti vidhignataya. That is, in the beginning, one thought appears in the mind of that Ishvara. And because of that thought, he exalts. Chiyate. This is a difficult word I was telling you. Chiyate. You can't say Brahma is becoming big in size, or we do not know. But then that is what it means. Chiyate actually means grows, exalts, becomes happy. So that also. Chiyate Brahma. Then Jagad Ankuramiva Bijam Uchchunatam Gacchati. Another example also is given. Just as there is a sprout. Before the seed becomes a sprout, the seed is smaller in size. When it sprouts, it becomes slightly bigger. It swells. So in that fashion, the Brahma became big. Brahma grew. Putramiva Pita Harshena. Or when you see your child, you become very happy. You are in an expansive mood, let us say. So in that expansive mood, you are there. So like that, Evam Sarvajnataya Srushti Sthiti Samhara Shakti Vijnanataya. So upachitat. So he says Srushti Sthiti Samhara Shakti Vijnana. So all these things have come now. Srushti, that is creation. Sthiti, maintenance. Samhara, all this Shakti. What we call Shakti. Shakti actually is Shiva Shaktya Yukto Yadi Bhavati. That is what we see, isn't it? Shiva is pure consciousness and Shakti is Mayopahitam Chaitanyam. If you apply it to Vishnu, Vishnu is pure Chaitanyam and Vishnu Maya. Lakshmi is that creative force, creative power, creative Shakti, as we call it. So, Upachitat, Tataha Brahmana, from that Brahma, that is Ishvara, Annam. Annam is Adyate, Bhujyate, iti Annam. Adyate means that which is eaten. Bhujyate, iti Annam. And what is that? Avyakrutam. Pradhanam I have noted. Sadharanam Samsarina. Annam Avyakrutam. Avyakrutam is that what we can say is we know what is the idea, the concept of Pradhanam, or what is called Prakriti. Prakriti, from that Ishvara, initially the Sattva, Rajas, Tamo gunas which are in equilibrium, that is called this Prakriti. What he writes is, Anandagiri writes, Mahabhuta Sargadi Samskaraspadam. Sargadi Samskaraspadam. That is, that which is having the samskara to create the five elements. And then Gunatraya Samyam, where there is that equilibrium of those three gunas. So that particular thing is that Maya Tattvam, Avyakrutadi Shabdavachyam. So Avyakruta refers to that particular Maya Tattvam, which is that state of, an equilibrium of the three gunas. And then it is also having that samskara for creation of these five elements. Prithvi, Apas, Tejo, Vayu, Akasha. So that is what it is. So then it is Sadharanam Samsarinam. It is common to everybody. Common to every being. Not only human being, common to every being. Then from Sadharanam, Vyachikirshita Avastharupena Abhijayate Utpadyate. So all these things arise. Vyachikirshita. Chikirsha means desire to do a thing. Kartum Ichha is Chikirsha. Vyachikirshita is Vyakartum Ichha. That is, in order to create. Vyakaranam is, what is Vyakaranam? Namarupa Vyakaranam. That is creating these names and forms. Namarupa, expanding, not even creating. Vyakaranam means to elaborate. So the Ishvara, this Pradhanam, it wanted to give these names and forms, or they say manifest in the form of names and forms. Abhijayate. So up to that point we read. Isn't it? Yes. Utpadyate. Up to this point we read in the last class. Then we will continue. Tatascha Avyakrutat. Vyachikirshita avasthavataha. Vyachikirshita avasthavataha annat. Pranaha Hiranyagarbhaha. Brahmano Jnanakriyashaktyadhishthita Jagatsadharanaha. Avidya Kamakarma Bhuta Samudaya Bijankuro.
Kama Bhuta Samudaya Bijankuru
Jagadatma Abhijayate Ityanushankaha. So this is the line. What is that? Annat Pranaha. So that is the explanation here. Tatascha Avyakrutat. Annam, the meaning of Annam we saw it as Avyakrutam. Avyakrutam is what is called Maya, which is that which contains these three gunas, which has got the three constituents called three gunas. So from that, Vyachikirshita avasthavataha annat. So this annam is in that particular stage which has been contemplated by the Brahma. Ishvara contemplated in that form, and he prepared some raw material, let us say, some primordial matter or some sort of raw material, which is that called the thing called three gunas. From those three gunas, then pranaha, hiranyagarbha, that first jiva, the first jiva, which is called hiranyagarbha, brahmanaha jnana kriya shakti adhishthita jagat sadharanaha. So this Brahma's kriya shakti and jnana shakti are manifest in the form of this hiranyagarbha, because Brahma itself is of the nature of pure Chaitanya. And then next to Brahma we saw this what is called Ishvara, Maya Vachinnam Chaitanyam. That is what we call Ishvara. When we refer to it as something to do with Brahma, then it is called Ishvara. Then, but at the same time, when we refer to it as Jiva, it is called Hiranyagarbha. So initially there is something like a transition called Ishvara. From that we are having what is called Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbha is the first jiva which is having this Brahma's Jnana Shakti and Kriya Shakti, all these things. Jnana Kriya Shakti Adhishthita Jagat Sadharana. This again is common to, this is Jagat Sadharana means that is common to the whole universe. This Hiranyagarbha is one for the whole universe. Just as Ishvara is one for the whole universe, this Hiranyagarbha also is one for the whole universe. Then avidya kama karma bhuta samudaya bijankuraha. So this is the place where this bhuta samudaya means all the beings. Samudaya means group, isn't it? Bhuta samudaya means all the beings in the world. All the beings in the world are created. How are they created? By virtue of their karma. By virtue of the karma in the earlier kalpa. Because the Srushti is again in cycles, isn't it? Srushti is again in cycles. In the previous kalpa, whatever karma was there, according to that, these people are created. So that is in the seed form. Avidya, kama, karma, bhuta, samudaya, bijankuraha. So this is something like, it is in a seed form. All the karma of all the beings are in the seed form in this particular Hiranyagarbha. And from that Hiranyagarbha, this whole creation comes out. So that is why he is called Jagadatma. Hiranyagarbha is called Jagadatma. That is the Atma for the whole universe. That is the self of the whole universe. The Hiranyagarbha is yourself, myself, and the self of an ant and everything. Then Hiranyagarbha, then Jagadatma, Abhijayate iti Anushangaha. This word Abhijayate, we have to borrow. Anushangaha means it follows. It follows that, because that Annat Pranaha. Annat Pranaha, say what is this? Abhijayate. Earlier that verb Abhijayate is there. Tataha Annam Abhijayate. Annat Pranaha Abhijayate. Tataha Satyam Lokaha Abhijayante. So like that. So then, Nityanushangaha. Tasmacha Pranat.
Tasmacha Pranat.
Manaha Manaakyam Sankalpa Vikalpa Samshaya Nirnayadhyatmakam.
Manaha Manaakyam Sankalpa Vikalpa Samshaya Nirnayatmakam.
Nirnayadhyatmakam Abhijayate. Tatopi sankalpat sankalpadyatmakat manasaha satyam satyakhyam akashadi bhutapanchakam abhijayate.
Satyam Satyakhyam Akajadi Bhuta Panchakam Abhijayate.
Okay, Tasmat Pranat. From that prana means Hiranyagarbha. From that Hiranyagarbha, then what is the thing which arises? That is the cosmic mind. Mana Akhyam. That is the cosmic mind. And what are the functions of the mind? Mind is something which sees a thing, which notices a thing, and then it desires, it understands something, it deliberates, and then it is characterized by decision making, etc. So all these things are being described. Mana akhyam, sankalpa, vikalpa, samshaya, nirnaya. These four things are the characteristics of the mind, isn't it? Samshaya, sankalpa, just you look at a thing and then you have not decided what it is, but then you just see and then you look at a thing and then you notice it. Then vikalpa, and then you deliberate whether it is this or that vikalpa. Then samshaya, there is also a doubt. Then nirnaya, then buddhi comes into picture and then you take a decision that this is what it is. So this mind, the various functions of the mind, various levels of the mind, they are all contained in that. So all that Shakti is there in that mana akhyam. That is abhijayate, that arises. Then tatopi sankalpadhyatmakan manasaha, that we read. From that manas, which is of the nature of sankalpa. This mind, I don't know whether we in this particular class we have explained or not, but in earlier classes means Katha Upanishad and other Upanishads, we have seen that mind has got 4 levels of functioning. That is, in English we call it mind, but in Vedanta we call it antahkarana. Of course, here only the word mind is used. In this antahkarana, there are 4 levels: manaha, buddhi, ahankara and chittam. So that is why there is a very famous line of Shankaracharya, mano buddhi ahankara chittani naham. So last line, shivah kevaloham. So manaha is the level where you just look at a thing and then you don't decide what it is. Then manaha buddhi is where it decides, mano buddhi. Ahankara is one level where the notion of I comes into picture. I know that I know it, I am aware of it. That notion of I is there. Chittam is when you reflect on a thing. You have got several experiences. All those experiences you recall to your mind, you contemplate on them. That level of contemplation is that another level. So that mind functions at various levels. So they are given specific names, mana, buddhi, ahankara, chitta, etc. But here in a slightly different meaning, it is the same thing is being explained. Sankalpa, vikalpa, samshaya, nirnaya. In a slightly different form, it is explained here. So then, tatopi sankalpadhyatmakat manasa. From that mind, then what is it that is coming out? Satyam. Satyakhyam means that which is called Satya. Akhya means it is called. Satyakhyam. Akashati bhuta panchakam. We know this bhuta panchakam. Bhuta panchakam means the 5 beings which have come into existence. What are they? We know that science says there are about 140 and 150 elements. But then all those 150 elements can be categorized broadly into 5. That is Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apaha and Pruthivi. That is space, air, fire, water and earth. So these are the 5 broad elements. And into this 5 broad categories only, whether it is 150 elements or 200 elements, all of them, they fall into that. So anyway, this Akashadi Bhuta Panchakam Abhijayate. So these 5 elements, they evolve. Abhijayate means they emerge, they evolve from that manasa, cosmic mind. Then Tasmat Satyakhyat Bhuta Panchakat Andakramena Saptalokaha Bhuradayah. So then again, from those 5 elements, this all the Andakramena. Andakramena means this Brahmanda. We know that what is called Brahmanda. And Brahmanda is a collective noun for all the small lokas that are created. So here, what does it mean? We have seen in other texts, though this text has not explained here, in other texts we have seen that these 5 elements are in the elemental state, that is in their pure state, that Akasha is in the Tanmatra, it is called. Tanmatra means it is its own state. Then Vayu, the pure state. Then fire, it's a pure state. Jalam, pure state. Then these 5 elements, they intermix. These 5 elements intermix in various proportions. That is called Panchikaranam. Panchikaranam means these 5 independent, materials, they mix and then they become the 5 compounds. So till that time, The 5 elements are Tanmatra, it is called. Tanmatra means that alone. Akasha means Akasha alone. Bhumi means Bhumi alone. Then Jala Tanmatra means Jalam alone, and then not mixed by earth, etc. But then when they mix, if you call, then these things, these 5 things, they appear. They become tangible. Till that time they are intangible. The Tanmatras are intangible, whereas these 5 elements, when the gross elements, the 5 subtle elements and 5 gross elements, that is how we say. These 5 subtle elements are called Tanmatras, and then the 5 gross elements are the things which we see. Gross means, the meaning of gross is anything which we can see or perceive with our senses is called gross. And what we cannot perceive is something which is subtle. So after these 5 elements they mix, then we see this earth which is seen, the fire which is seen, the water which is seen, and the air we breathe, etc. So that is how it is. So from this Andakram, and these things, this Prithvi and these 5 elements also, they combine and then they form into various Anda. Anda means various worlds. Worlds means we see all these stars, planets and so many things. All these things are formed in that fashion. Andakramena Saptalokaha Bhuradaya. Of course, anyway, our ancestors, they said Saptalokaha, that is Bhuhu, Bhuvaha, Suvaha, etc. There are 7 lokas like that. Depending on the quantum of punya which you have done, you will be either in Bhuloka or Bhuvarloka or Suvarloka, depending on the quantum of punyam. Punyam means good deeds you have done. And depending on the bad deeds, there are some nether worlds also. There are 7 higher worlds, there are 7 nether worlds, altogether 14. So, in our system, so these lokas are formed like that. Then Teshu Manushyadi Prani Varnashrama Kramena Karmani. Let us read.
Teshu.
Then for them, in those lokas, Manushyadi Prani Varna Ashrama Kramena. For Manushya only all the duties are there. For animals there are no duties. Manushyadi Prani Varna Ashrama Kramena. For human beings only, there is what is called karma. Shastram is only for Manushya. There is a sutra also, Manushyaadhikaratvat Shastrasya. Shastram talks about the human being only. It doesn't talk about the animals and all that. Then Manushya, Adi, Prani, Varna, Ashrama Kramena. This Varna and Ashrama also we have to note. Varna means, we have seen in Gita, Chaturvarnyam Maya Sushtam Guna Karma Vibhagashaha. Depending on the guna, depending on the characteristic of a person, depending on the innate propensities of a person, depending on whether a person is having sattva guna, depending on whether a person is having rajoguna as a dominant feature, depending on whether he is having tamoguna as the dominant feature, this characterization is made. These personality types are divided. So of course, it has later degenerated or it has evolved or rather changed in the form of the present day caste, etc. But earlier, when we see Gita, in several passages of Mahabharatam also we have seen while studying Gita, we have seen that this Varna means depending on the predominant, say, guna. Suppose a person is having predominant sattva guna. We know this sattva, rajas and tamas also. Sattvam is something which is associated with, say, desire for knowledge, contentment, purity, straightforwardness, arjavam. So these are character and peacefulness, peace, desire for peace. So these are ahimsa. So these are the things which are characteristics of sattva. Rajas, there are 2 angles of rajas. One aspect is to dominate others. One aspect is to acquire. So out of these 2 aspects, the person who wants to dominate, he becomes the king. That is what is called Kshatriya. He is called Kshatriya. The person who wants to accumulate wealth and all that, that is another aspect of Rajoguna, which is associated with accumulating. He is called Vaishya. Then a person in whom there is a predominant Tamoguna. Tamoguna means some dullness, some lack of initiative and things like that. So that person is called Shudra. These 4 things, 4 personality types are given by in our, say in the early texts, depending on the guna, depending on the characteristics. But later, of course, it has somehow, for various reasons, for various sociological reasons, it has evolved into the present day caste. So that's a different thing. So anyway, for For this Brahmana, this is the duty of a Brahmana. Then this is the duty of a Kshatriya. So like that duties are given according to their gunas. Then again ashrama. Again for every varna there is again an ashrama. For a Brahmana there are 4 ashramas. That is Brahmacharya, Gruhastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa. And for sannyasa, in olden days, only Brahmin was entitled. That is, a sannyasi is supposed to go and do bhikshatanam. Bhikshatanam means accepting food in all, all houses. He has to go and beg for food in all the houses. So that was the duty assigned for a Brahmin. A Brahmin was not allowed to accumulate wealth. His duty was to spread knowledge and then to live by begging. He is supposed to live by begging, and then he is supposed to impart knowledge. That was the duty at the final stage, sannyasa ashrama, not from the very beginning. From the very beginning, he will be a brahmachari, he will go to a teacher, he will learn, and then he will be a gruhastha. Gruhastha means he becomes a householder, and then after some time he gets into vanaprastha. Vanaprastha means totally concentrating on what we are doing now. And then after some time he becomes a sannyasi. So that is those are the 4 grades. For Kshatriya is not supposed to take up a sannyasa. For Kshatriya only up to Vanaprastha. Kshatriya and others, there is only Vanaprastha. So it is like that. So for this, depending on the varna, the ashrama duties are there. Ashrama again there are duties. Brahmacharya, what are your duties? As a householder, what are your duties? And as a Vanaprasthi, what are your duties? So all these things are mentioned. So all these things are karmani. Karmani means all these various actions which are prescribed by Vedas, let us say. Then these karmas, they give some result. So that's what he is saying. Karmasu cha nimitta bhuteshu amrutam karmajam phalam yavat karmani kalpakoti shetairapi na vinashyanti tavat phalam na vinashyati ityamrutam. Okay. Karmasu nimitta bhuteshu. These karmas, they become the cause. Nimitta bhuteshu means nimittam is cause. These karmas, they become the nimittam for the phalam. They become the cause for some phalam. They become the cause for some result. So when they become the cause, then naturally they give some phalam. And that phalam is called amrutam. Why is it called amrutam? Though it is not absolute immortality we are talking about, it is something like a relative immortality. In this sense, he is explaining, yavat karmani kalpakoti setayarapi navinashyanti. You see, these karmas, we know this doctrine of karma. Broadly again, to recapitulate, karma, every human being performs some action. And for every action, there is a result. You perform some good action and then there is a result. Perform bad action, there is a result. For performing good action, you go to some nice place and then you come back. And then for performing some bad action, you go to some bad place and again you come back. Then again when you come back, you are also doing some more actions. And then it continues like that. And then how is it that we are going to break this cycle of, this karma? The only way which is mentioned in the scripture is know yourself, Atma Jnana. It is only by knowing yourself that you will eradicate all the karmas. Jnana Agni Dagdha Karmanam Tamahu Panditam Buddhaha. Then Jnana Agni. This Jnanam is something like a fire which burns away all the karmas. So, Jnanam means Atma Jnanam. Atma Jnanam means Brahma Jnanam. That is knowing what you are. Atma is Brahmatma Bhava. That is what we frequently see. That is, Atma is not different from Brahma. And then how is it that you are going to achieve that level, achieve that awareness? That is a long process of self-purification is mentioned. The long process of self-purification, there is what is called Karma Yoga. Okay, man cannot totally give up all these karmas. Then somebody may say, okay, by simply giving up karmas we will get moksham. It is not so, it doesn't happen. So man has to perform some karmas. Otherwise the society cannot function, society will not survive. Man has to do karma. So while doing karma, you do it in such a way that you are doing it as an offering to the Lord. As you are doing it as part of the divine will. You put yourself in the shoes of the Lord of the world, and then you do your karma with a motive of service. So then you are not seeking the result of that karma for yourself. You may get some earthly result, you may get some physical benefit which is again used for others and etc. But what is called punyam etc., that punyam you will not get. So in this, if you say that I am doing it as an order from the Lord, as my duty for the samasti, so that is one way of purifying, that is one way of reducing your karma background, what we call karmic background. So then, not only that will not totally eradicate, because the previous karmas are all there. Previous means the karma phala of previous births is there. So how will that disappear? That can disappear only when you do this contemplation. So in this janma or in this birth, when you do this karma yoga, the mind gets purified. And slowly once the mind gets purified, we are also we're supposed to follow it up with yoga. Yoga means this Patanjali yoga. That is what 6th Adhyaya says. That again gives some concentration of mind and ability to contemplate, ability to think, ability to meditate on a subject. Then associate God with that. Initially you have done pure karma yoga. Then to some extent mind is purified. Then again bring in yoga, purifies slightly more. Bring in the element of God also. God means some bhakti. So with this thing, then that itself will not give jnana. God again will help you. God will again help you in getting this jnana. So the divine grace, that is what we call it. Then you have to follow it up by Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. You have to see you have to understand what the texts say, and then you have to go to your guru and then you have to understand what the texts say. So what we are doing, what we are seeing in the Upanishads is, it is not as though you know something at an intellectual level, but it is something associated with an internal transformation. So this internal transformation is what is meant here, and not knowing at an intellectual level. By listening to some Upanishad Vakya, suddenly you will not get jnana. You see, a person whose mind is filled with all worldly desires, all worldly motives and all that. So such a person cannot, by just listening to Tattvamasi or Aham Brahmasmi, he will not get that Brahmakara Vritti. That Brahmakara Vritti or notion that I am that Brahman, it can arise only in a person who is having a pure mind which is strengthened by yoga and strengthened by bhakti. So such a person, he will be in a position to receive that idea in a correct way and then realize slowly that he is the Brahman. So that is how it happens. So the study of Upanishads contemplates an internal transformation. That is the point. So here, karma koti setairapi na vinashyanti. That is why it is said karma kalpa koti setairapi na vinashyanti. Even in hundreds of millions of the cycles of creation, that karma continues to be there unless you get jnana, unless you get the knowledge of self. So tavat phalam na vinashyati iti amrutam. So it is called amrutam, or it is called a relative amrutam, because the karma phalam does not disappear. So that is it. Maybe some people may desire that karma phalam. Some people may be very happy. You see, some people may be very happy with whatever karma phalam they are having. For them, it will be a perpetual cycle of birth and death. But for those who want to get rid of this and then attain the real amrutam, then this duplicate amrutam has to be rejected. So that is right. Then let us go to the next mantra. We'll read the mantra first. Yes sarvagnyas sarvavid.
Yes sarvagnya sarvavid.
Sarvagnyas sarvavid.
Sarvagnyas sarvavid.
Yasya jnanamayam tapaha.
Yasya jnanamayam tapaha.
Tasmadetad brahma.
Tasmadetad brahma.
Nama rupamannancha jayate.
Nama rupamannancha jayate.
So then again, what we have seen above only in a slightly different form, it is mentioning. Yaha sarvagnyah sarvavit. That Brahma, who is sarvagnya and sarvavit. Yaha means the he who, referring to this Brahma only. Sarvagnya. Sarvagnya it gives different meanings, I will tell you. So sarvagnya broadly it means omniscient. Sarvavid also means omniscient. In what way these two things differ, we are going to see. Yasya jnanamayam tapaha, whose tapas is of the nature of jnana, whose contemplation is of the nature of jnanam. It is pure knowledge only, which is called tapas, knowledge only. Then tasmat, from that Brahma, etad Brahma. Etad Brahma means this Brahma. That is Hiranyagarbha Brahma. From that Mayavachirna Chaitanya, this Hiranyagarbha Brahma is something which is emerges or evolves. Etad Brahma. Then from that, Nama Rupam Annancha Jayate. Nama Rupam Annam. Nama, the names, forms and all this. Annam here, it doesn't again refer to Pradhanam. It again refers to normal, say, the plant kingdom, etc. Annancha Jayate. That is how it evolves. So here, the meaning for Sarvajna and Sarvavit, we have to see. Sarvajna, say the explanation given by Shankaracharya and also by Anandagiri is that we are looking at Brahma as supreme, say, consciousness only, pure, unalloyed, unadulterated consciousness only. So that is nothing to do with any creation, etc. From that Maya, Vachana, that creative power, when that is associated with this creative power, which is called Maya, and in Puranas we call it Shakti, Puranas we call it Lakshmi, whatever it is. So when it is associated with that, that is what is called Sarvajna. Earlier Brahma is Sarvascha Asau Jnascha. For example, in Mandukya Upanishad there is a line, Yesha Sarveshwaraha, Yesha Sarvajnaha, Yesha Sarveshwaraha. There is one line. There, Shankaracharya writes, Sarvascha Asau Jnascha. That is all, this Brahma, all that we see, Sarvaha, is this whole Anantam, this infinite, is what is called, what is the Brahman. Then Jnascha, it is of the nature of pure consciousness. That is Anantam and Jnanam. Sarvascha Asau Jnascha means Jnanam and Anantam. So that is the original meaning. But later when we say Sarvajna, omniscient, when you say omniscient, this pure consciousness becomes something where there is what is called the difference between the distinction between the knower and the known. In pure consciousness, there is no distinction between the knower and the known. So that is why we say in that Brahman awareness, there is no such distinction between the knower, known and jnanam. Jnanam, jnata, jnayam, that triputi disappears. That is what we see. But in the case of this creator Brahma or Ishvara, we call him Sarvajna. Because Ishvara is what is that? Mayopadhikam Chaitanyam is Ishvara. Shuddha Chaitanyam is one. Then Mayopadhikam Chaitanyam is one. Then again this Hiranyagarbha Brahma, this is another. So these are the various transitions which we see. So this Sarvajna is what is called Mayopadhikam Brahma, which is capable of, which is having all these things in his mind. We saw this line. What is this line? Mahabhuta Sargadi Samskara Aspadam. So that is that which is having the intelligence to create Mahabhutas, etc. So at a larger level, it is having intelligence. And then the Sarvavit means at a smaller level also, minute level also. One is knowledge at a macro level and one is knowledge at the micro level. Knowledge at the micro level is the Hiranyagarbha. This Hiranyagarbha is appearing as all the jivas, isn't it? And which means, say you and I, we are called Kinchignya. We are not Sarvajñas. We are Kinchignya. We know a little bit, isn't it? Where a person is a being which knows a little bit is called Kinchignya. That means I do not know what is in your mind. You do not know what is in my mind. Both of us do not know what somebody else is thinking. So we are Kinchignya. Whereas this Hiranyagarbha is something, a consciousness which is reflected on all the beings. The same Brahman consciousness is reflected on all the beings, isn't it? So in the form of Jiva, in the form of Jiva Chaitanya, let us say, in the form of Jiva Chaitanya which is reflected in the Antahkarana of even an ant. So this Hiranyagarbha is somebody who is in the form of an ant, who is the Chaitanya which is reflected in the Antahkarana of an ant, and then what the ant thinks and what ant does, that he knows. What some other lion does, what lion thinks also he knows. What a human being thinks he knows. So in that form, all the beings, they become the upadhis. Upadhi, you know the word upadhi. Upadhi means it is a limiting factor. A human being, a person is an upadhi. Upadhi is a limiting factor. A limiting factor in the sense that I am, say, having a particular limited body and limited, say, antahkarana. So this limited say capacity to do things. So this is what is called an upadhi. In this upadhi, all these upadhis, whatever goes on in these upadhis, it is known to this Hiranyagarbha. So that is why it is called Sarvavit. So one is at a intelligence at a macro level, that is intelligence for the creation of this 5 elements and that larger structure, and one who goes into the minute structure. So that is the difference between Sarvagnya and Sarvavit. Then yasya jnanamayam tapaha. This tapas is tapas. This word tapa also we know. Tapasa brahma vijignyasasva tapa alochane. Tapas does not mean physical strain and all that. It is basically contemplation. So that is of the nature of jnanam. Then tasmat, from that Brahma, etad Brahma, this particular Brahma, and nama rupa manmancha jayate. So let us read the bhashyam. Uktameva artham
Uktameva artham
upasanjihirshuhu
upasamjihirshuhu
mantro vakshyamanaarthamaha
mantro vakshamanarthamaha
ya uktalakshano aksharakhyaha sarvajnyaha
ya uktakshano aksharakshaha sarvajnyaha
samanyena sarvam janati iti sarvajnyaha
samanyena sarvam janati iti sarvajnyaha
visheshena sarvam vetti iti sarvavit.
visheshena sarvam vetti iti sarvavit.
Okay. Uktameva artham. Uktameva artham means whatever has been told hitherto. Uktameva, whatever has already been told. The same thing, upasanjihirshuhu, that is desiring to conclude. You know the word upasamhara. Upasamhartum ichha. Upasanjihirsha. Another samanta pratyaya. Upasanjihirshuhu means desiring to conclude. Desiring to conclude that mantraha vakshyamanaarthamaha. This mantra is being told. So one more point which we have to see here in this Srushti Krama is we have noted in Taittiriya Upanishad also, and also in Kathopanishad also we have seen, particularly in Taittiriya Upanishad. Taittiriya Upanishad we saw that Srushti Krama, Akasha, Dvayu, Vayu, Ragni, etc., etc. And at the end we also saw Shankara Bhashyam, which said that all this Srushti Krama is being mentioned not to tell you this is the order in which all things have been created, etc., but to tell you that you are not different from Brahma. That is the last tail spark, as they call it. What do you call? Tail spark, whatever it is. You read an article, and at the end there is what is called a tail spark. So it is like that. So all this Srushti Krama, that is Atmanaha Akasha Sambhutaha, from that eternal Atman, that space has come, and then from space this air has come, from the air fire has come, etc., etc. All those things we have seen. At the end of it says that all this thing is not being told to you to say that this Jagat is real, but it is being told to you to say, to know that you are not different from Brahma. So that is what here also. And how do we know? How do we have to do to know, realize it? That is, we know the way in which we have come, and then the way to go back is the same route. If you have come to Hyderabad from Delhi in some particular route, touching say half a dozen villages in half a dozen towns en route, the way to go back again is to go in the same path. So in the same path we have to go back. And Taittiriya Upanishad gave a very beautiful description there. So Taittiriya Upanishad talked about the Pancha Koshas, the 5 sheaths, that is 5 levels in which a person identifies himself. 5 sheaths means 5 levels at which a person identifies himself. That is, we first identify ourselves with our physical body. So when you identify yourself with the physical body, you are called Pranamaya Kosha. And then when you slightly grow out of it, and then when you identify yourself with your life force, that is called Pranamaya Kosha. Then when you identify yourself with this mind, yes, I am having this thinking capacity, I am that. And then you are a Manomaya Kosha, then Vijnanamaya Kosha, Anandamaya Kosha, etc. All these are various levels of identification. Once you go beyond these 5 levels of identification, then what is remaining? You have rejected what all is being seen, because all these are Karya. All this Annamaya Kosha is a Karya, Pranamaya is a Karya, all these things you are discarded all the Drishyam. Then what is remaining? You are remaining as a Druk, you are remaining as the seer. And this Druk or Chaitanya or seer is not different from the Supreme Being or Supreme Chaitanya. So there, that is the way in which one can realize. And all this process cannot happen by mere study, but by not anubhava and also self-purification. A lot of anubhava also is required, you are right, abhyasa. That abhyasa, that chintanam has to be done constantly. Unless we do chintanam, the very next day when you look at something, you get attracted by that. So, chintanam has to be done. So, for that only, this purification, self-purification of karma yoga, etc., we were discussing just now. So that is one point which we have to see. So all this yasya jnanamayam tapaha, etc., all those things that they are being told in order to tell you the return route also. First it is telling the route in which you have come. So which means the return route you have to go in the same route. So let us see, upasanjihirshu mantraha vaksyamanarthamaha. Vaksyamanartham means that which is going to be told. Then you have uktalakshano aksharakhya sarvajnaha. Ukta lakshana means whose lakshanam, whose characteristics have been defined. What is that? Aksharakhya sarvajnaha. This aksharam brahma. So this aksharam brahma here is mayavachina chaitanyam only we have to see. Not that pure brahma. Aksharakyam brahma. Then sarvajnaha. Samanyena sarvam janati. Samanyena. That is at a broader level. At a broader level means at the level of say Mahabhuta creation, at the level of this three gunas, etc. So such things, this panchikaranam, etc., at that level it is having that intelligence. And then visheshena sarvam vetti iti sarvavit. Visheshena, that is from the point of view of an ant, from the point of view of some other rat, from this point of view of a tiger, from the point of view of a human being, from the point of view of a chimpanzee. So all the intelligence of all the beings. So this is the all the intelligence in all beings. That is nothing but the intelligence of Brahman. We know that theory. We know that, isn't it?
Yes.
The same Brahma Chaitanya is reflected in the consciousness of an ant, not consciousness, in the antahkarana, in the mind of an ant, and in the mind of a rat, in the mind of a hen, in the mind of all these things in different proportions, in different ways. And then, not different proportions, it is reflected equally on all the things. Whereas the structure of this particular mind is different. So that is why hen is able to see something, ant is able to see something else, say a crow may be able to see something else, and a human being sees something else. So our perception is differing because of that. Because our structure, our upadhi is different. So then, let us read, yasya jnanamayam,
यस्य ज्ञानमयम्
jnana vikarameva sarvajna lakshanam tapaha,
ज्ञानविकारमेव सार्वज्ञलक्षणं तपः
na ayasa lakshanam,
न आयासलक्षणं
tasmad yathoktat sarvajnat,
तस्मात् यथोक्तात् सर्वज्ञात्
etad uktam karya lakshanam brahma,
एतदुक्तं कार्यलक्षणं ब्रह्म
hiranyagarbhakyam jayate.
हिरण्यगर्भाख्यं जायते.
So the next line is yasya jnanamayam tapaha. This is also a difficult say concept. This tapas is of the nature, it is, tapas means, the tapa dhatu has two meanings. Tapa means to burn. Surya tapam, so like that, Surya tapam, agnihi tapati, Suryas tapati. That is tapa, that is to burn. Then the other meaning is alochane, tapa alochane. And the thoughts also burn us, isn't it? When you are thinking, your mind becomes hot. So thoughts also burn us. So this jnana, but this here, it is jnanamayam tapaha. This tapas is of the nature of jnanam. This is of the nature of the plan regarding creation. So when he is having such a vast plan regarding creation, so that jnanamayam tapaha, not na ayasa lakshanam. Ayasa means somebody standing on one leg, standing in the middle of fires. So that is ayasa. Ayasa means a strain. It is not something which is associated with physical strain and all that. It is something to do with thinking. It is something to do with conceptualization. So that is the type of tapas. Then tasmad yathoktat sarvajnat. From that sarvajna, from the sarvajna who has been described as above, yetad uktam karya lakshanam brahma. That is karana brahma and this is karya brahma. These two words are also used in Vedanta. One is karana brahma, the brahma which is the original cause, and the brahma which is the effect. That is the brahma who is something like a supervisor of the world, Lord of the world. When we say Lord of the world, when we use the words like Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, etc., etc., all these words apply to this Hiranyagarbha only from different points of view. This Hiranyagarbha, in that Hiranyagarbha, this function, cosmic function called creation, you give it a name called Brahma. And because that creation is associated with some little bit of intelligence, there is what is called Saraswati to his aid. Saraswati is again knowledge, symbol, say personified. Then this Srushti is also maintained for some time. For maintaining you need some resources. All these resources, that particular function called maintenance is called Vishnu. And then for that maintenance you need all some resources. So you associate some Lakshmi with him. So all these are our own conceptions. Vishnu, Lakshmi, Rudra. Then for resolving back, this Srushti to resolve back, that function is called Rudra. And that Shakti which he is having is called some Kali, Durga, any name. So this is how we visualize three Murtis. And all the cosmic functions which we see, wind, rain, etc., they are also given some names, because all these are also associated with consciousness. All these things which are associated with consciousness. So that is why we call them Devas. Deva, Dyotanatvat. That is because they are the beings associated with consciousness. And so anyway, Tasmad Yathoktad Yetaduktam Karya Lakshanam Brahma. So this is Karya Brahma and that is Karana Brahma. So this Karya, who is this Karya Brahma? Hiranyagarbha. Hiranyagarbhakyam Jayate. Jayate means say he is born. Then or evolves also we can say. Then Kincha Nama Asau Devadatto Yajnadatta Ityadi.
Asau Devadatto Yajnadatta
Ityadi Lakshanam. Rupam Idam Shuklam Neelam Ityadi.
Idam Shuklam Neelam Ityadi.
Annancha Vrihi Yavadi Lakshanam Jayate.
Annancha Vrihi Yavadi Lakshanam Jayate.
Purva Mantrokta Kramena
Purva Mantrokta Kramena
Ityavirodho Drashtavyaha.
Ityavirodho Drashtavyaha.
Okay. Then Kincha, moreover, Nama Rupam Annancha Jayate, isn't it? Nama, what is the Nama? Okay, he is Asau Devadattaha, Asau Yajnadattaha, so this man is Devadatta, this man is Yajnadatta, this is glass, this is a pen, this is that. So all these names and forms. Ityadi. Rupam means color, or you can broadly say shape also. Shuklam, Neelam, Ityadi. This is something white, this is something black, etc. All these things are Nama, Rupa. So these are again evolutes. These are again evolutes of that Hiranyagarbha. Then Annam. Annam here is ordinary meaning. Vrihi Yavadi Lakshanam. Vrihi. Yava. Vrihi, that is a cereal. Yava is another cereal. Vrihi Yava Adi Lakshanam. That is of the nature of the cereals, various cereals which we eat. Then food grains, various food grains, let us say. Then Purva Mantrokta Kramena iti Avirodha Drashtavyaha. That is, this particular mantra is not contradicting the earlier mantra. Purva Mantrokta Kramena eva. In the same mantra, say in the same order. Because in the earlier mantra, the word Anna is used in a different sense. In this mantra, Annam is used in a different sense. And how do we know that? As I said, the commentators, they see the entire text, the entire Upanishadic text, and then see the context, and then depending on the context, what is the meaning. So that is how it has to be, say the meaning has to be decided. So that is the ninth mantra. So in this mantra, what we see is, say this Jnana Rupam, yes, say Jnanamayam Tapaha is an important word. Then all this thing, creation is being told in order to tell us, in order to indicate to us the return journey also. Here we also see that this Shuddha Brahma is something which is of the nature of pure consciousness, where this duality, the knower and the known duality is not there. And then that Shuddha Brahma, when it turns into Maya Vacchannam Chaitanyam Ishvara, then again only this division comes into existence. Then when this Hiranyagarbha, next to Hiranyagarbha Tattvam arises is the Prathama Jiva, then this supervision of the whole world, and then individual, this micro-intelligence, that macro-intelligence is Ishvara and micro-intelligence is this Hiranyagarbha. So these are the things which we see in this. Then here ends the first Mundaka, iti Mundakopanishad Bhashya, Prathama Mundake, Prathama Khandaha. So we will go to the next Mundaka, next Khanda in the next class. Then in the next Khanda, we will see the karma. We will see about aparavidya. Now we have seen the paravidya. So paravidya, what is the nature of that para and what is the paravidya? Some indications are given. But here in the second khanda, we are going to see aparavidya, that is what is the karma, what is the scope and limitations, what are the scope and limitations of karma. That's what we are going to see. We will continue in the next class. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi.